Well, good morning to each and every one of you. Thank you for being here today. Senate Bill 606 aims to protect children who are particularly vulnerable to harassment because of their parents' employment. Sadly, it's become much more common that children of public officials and other high-profile individuals are becoming the victims of unwarranted attention as well as harassment. This measure, SB 606, expands upon and improves current law by increasing the penalties for the intentional harassment of a child. I am very pleased to have with me today actress and humanitarian Halle to speak personally about this issue. With that, Halle.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator. Good afternoon, everybody. I want to express my sincerest thanks and appreciation to Senator Kevin De León and his entire staff for their tireless efforts on behalf of the Senate Bill 606. This bill increases the existing penalties for those who intentionally harass children because of their occupation or their parent or legal guardian. SB 606 makes clear that such harassment is prohibited when it occurs in the course of photographing or videotaping children under the age of 16 years old without consent by those who would follow their activities or lie in wait. As a mother, I'm here today to speak about this because this bill is very, very, very close and dear to my heart. SB 606 takes a balanced approach by recognizing and accommodating legitimate constitutional concerns. It contains numerous safeguards to ensure that there is no interference with the right of the press to gather, garner, and publish the news. Though I am here in Sacramento today to speak on my behalf and the behalf of my family, there are many actors in my community whose children also suffer. Besides those in the entertainment industry community, there are other professionals whose children are targeted for harassment as well. That is why I am particularly pleased that Senator De León's bill also protects children of law enforcement personnel, including police, sheriffs, prosecutors, criminal defense attorneys, judges, prison guards, as well as psychiatrists, psychologists, medical service providers, families, lawyers, politicians, and others engaged in high-profile and controversial occupations. Now, I understand that as an actor, I've been in this business for over 20 years, and I've been a public personality for over 20 years, and I understand that there's a certain amount of my very own privacy that I must give up. I've come to terms with that. There's a trade-off. Every career has an upside and a downside. I've accepted mine. However, when it comes to my children or my child, when they are in fear of leaving the house, when they're suffering from nightmares and feeling that they cannot move in the world in a free and safe way, that is when, as a mother, I have to stand up for the rights of my children. There is inherent danger to paparazzi's action in regard to children. I hope to work with the lawmakers and the community to help change our children's reality today by enhancing the penalties for the most outrageous and willful forms of child harassment. I believe that SB 606 will create a significant deterrent to the overly aggressive paparazzi whose conduct seriously traumatizes children. I am here today to speak not only on my behalf, but I am here to speak on the behalf of all the other children who face harassment for no other reason than their parents' profession. So to Senator De León and all of the members of his legislature who support SB 606 on behalf of my family and all of the families who I'm speaking for today, I say thank you very much, and thank you for your time too.
Thank you so very much, Ms. Berry. Just a couple more comments, and then we'll go to a short Q&A before we get to Public Safety Committee at 10:30. Undeniably, the children of public figures are often the victims of fanatical attention as well as physical harassment. In addition to the many people in Ms. Berry's line of work, those charged with enforcing our laws, police officers, judges, as well as attorneys, must daily confront individuals who may harbor vendettas against not only them, but their families, and more specifically, their children. Earlier this year, we experienced a horrendous tragedy when disgruntled former police officer LAPD Christopher Dorner stalked and killed the daughter of his former police captain and her fiancé. Sadly, that case provided a very high-profile example of a definitive line that definitely has been crossed. Until this case, children were generally considered off limits. We now fear that that line has been crossed and possibly triggering other people to start harassing the children of other public officials. No child, regardless of his or her own parent's occupation, should be subjected to such warranted and harmful persecution. By increasing the penalties and authorizing civil actions, SB 606 will have a significant deterrent effect on those who would consider tormenting the most vulnerable and defenseless members of our society. So what we're going to do now is we will take do a few minutes of a Q&A before we start at 10:30. We have to be there on time given the logistics of the Public Safety Committee Assembly. So we will go into a Q&A for those who have questions. We have laws currently against harassment. Obviously, those laws, in my view, don't have enough teeth. We have a law by then Assemblymember Tom Umberg that's 20 years on the books, does not have enough teeth. We believe that if we increase the penalties for a judge to have someone serve up to 12 months and not 6 months, if the first penalty is 10,000, second 30, and the 20, I should say, the third 30, and open up for civil litigation, where it is our hope and intention that we can deter the just out of control environment that currently exists. Again, let me underscore, not just against actors, but against all public officials. The thesis of Tom Umberg's bill at that time was healthcare workers, and specifically it was doctors and healthcare workers who performed abortions. Their children were being targeted. So oftentimes they go to the most vulnerable, in this case it's children. It's our hope, we hope it bears itself out, if the measure gets signed into law by the governor, there will be significant deterrence. Again, this is not about the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. As Halle just mentioned right now, if you're a passerby or a civilian, if you work with the media and you want to take photographs, you can do so. That's not a big deal. Halle Berry's an adult, and she's an actor. She's been in this business for 20 years. She understands what it's like to be in the public eye, whether it's in Los Angeles, whether it's at Cannes Film Festival, or wherever in New York. The reality is, do not mess with the children, period.
She's actually reserving her comments and questions for the committee. Sorry, thank you.
All right. If that's it, unless there's a question.
Beyond this, then how will you all follow through? Because, some of the question enforcing this might be tough. And so I'm wondering, after today.
It's going to be, if this measure if it's a measure to pass public safety, get through the Assembly Judiciary Committee as well as the Assembly floor, back to the Senate for concurrence, because we're accepting amendments today, and to the governor's desk with his signature. Ultimately, it's going to be up to the district attorneys. Ultimately, it's going to be up to the vigilant district attorneys as well as local law enforcement to enforce these laws. They are part of the local executive branch. We make the laws. It's up to the local executive branch, in this case the district attorneys, to actually enforce those laws. So they have to be vigilant. There's plenty of books, laws on the books, some with teeth, some without teeth. It's always up to law enforcement and the DAs to work in a collaborative fashion. Again, let me underscore, just last year, we just saw the tragedy what happened with then LAPD officer, former LAPD officer Dorner, and what happened with the captain with his daughter as well as the fiancé. These are things that we've tried to prevent. It's not going to be the panacea, but we think it's one proactive step.
How does this bill protect legitimate news gathering, as you said, does it do?
Well, with regards to legitimate news gathering, it doesn't prevent journalists from gathering legitimate news. What it does is for any individual, not just the media, but any individual, private civilian, you cannot physically intimidate or harass a child, period. It's that simple. If you are ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, or a tabloid, magazine, what have you, et cetera, everyone under the First Amendment of the Constitution has a right under the Constitution to take a picture. But when you cross the line, when you physically intimidate and harass an individual, in this case, a child. And that's the line we're trying to distinguish right here.
And then that harassment is up to the DA to interpret?
It's not up to the DA to interpret, because that's why we have SB 606. It's up to the DA to enforce it. Right now we're trying to expand and build upon Mr. Umberg's measure 20 years ago. What it would do would give a judge discretion to give up to 12 months in jail presumably in county jail because of realignment, and more specifically on the first offense, $10,000 from $1,000. Second offense, $20,000. Third offense, $30,000. And it gives an opportunity for civil litigation. Okay, with that, we don't know if we'll see you downstairs, but if we do, we will see you, and if not, have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.